What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host and producer, Logan Landers, and join me here today to talk about the NFL draft steal, known as Brock Purdy by way of Iowa State. Quarterback, of course, now playing with the San Francisco 49ers. My guy from FirstRoundMock.com, Mr. William Yanish III, and resident 49ers fan. So, William, when this guy was drafted, just be honest, did you even know who he was? Did you even think he's going to make the team?
I knew who he was, and I didn't have faith in Trey Lance. That wasn't my favorite pick. Like drafting him in the first round every year for 3 years. So I was kind of hoping, something like this. It was like back when Montana was, getting old and broken down and such. There were a few quarterbacks they had, Ty Detmer, they had, the other guy, Bill Musgrave from here in Grand Junction. I was hoping he would be the next Montana because I was never much of a Steve Young fan, except for, what he did. But, nobody can really say they knew what they had. Our boy, Daniel Kelly, he had him as his QB3 in the 2022 draft.
No, and I did some of those videos with Daniel at the time, and my God, everyone called him crazy. They they called him there's words that they said that I cannot say on the air. About that take, but obviously, you can say he got it right.
Yeah, him in the Trey Lance thing wasn't going over well, but
it was entertaining. I can say hey, and for those out there, I read the comments. I know what y'all said, and we got bookmarks.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing. Nobody can really say what they had in Brock Purdy, and they really don't have an excuse. The 2022 quarterback class left something to be desired. There was Matt Corral, Bailey Zappi, Kenny Pickett, Malik, Willis.
Malik Willis, yep.
And it was one of those things to where it was just not a good quarterback draft. But Brock Purdy, he comes in and obviously saw an opportunity. He ended up coming in, and this is now Shanahan's Montana. What Walsh did with Montana. Kyle's dad was in San Francisco with that whole situation, and I just really, really believe that this kid, he really has a little bit of Joe Montana in him. Just the way he plays, he has that quiet confidence. It's like, in the playoffs, what was that, last year or year before, and he's running out there and he throws a little high step into his thing. He's got that confidence, and he's just got what it takes to be a quarterback. You can build a team around him. There are so many. I was arguing about this with the dude on Facebook this morning. He's like, oh, they had like 9 Pro Bowlers last year, and it's like, no, they had 6, and one of them was Brock Purdy, and another one
was one of them.
Was a fullback, Kyle, Juszczyk.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's not too many fullbacks left. So it's
yeah.
He's in a good situation, but there's so many people trying to make excuses for, why he is succeeding, why, he got to the championship game, his first year, he laid the wood to Tom Brady in his first start, period. And then coming back, everybody had their doubts, talking about Trey Lance. There's Grant Cohn out there, talking about, oh, Trey Lance this and Trey Lance that, and Brock Purdy's no good. And it's like, dude, why are you guys, still on this trip? This guy, he's the real deal. I mean, obviously, it was a complete and utter draft miss. They talk about, oh, well, he just throws checkdowns to CMC and Debo and this and that. And it's like, no. He has the number 1 completion percentage last year. He had the number 1 quarterback rating last year. He had the number 1 air yards per attempt, passing. And you come in, Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk, they're really good receivers, but compared to the rest of the league, I've got this whole list from the 2023 rosters. It's about 17 teams worth, and it's like, tell me which one, and it has the players listed, 4 or 5 of the skill groups, and it says, tell me which one that Brock Purdy wouldn't succeed with. I mean, it's obviously the coaching. Shanahan's it's like poetry in motion watching Shanahan's offense go, and just I don't even know how to explain it, man. This is a first for me. We went through so many quarterbacks in San Francisco after Jeff Garcia, had the franchise record for touchdown passes with like 31, which, or whatever it was, and which Brock Purdy broke last year, and he broke the yardage as well. And I just don't know how to say, like I said, there was no excuse. And I was watching this. This is the year before that I finally went into doing formal evaluations and such. And I remember watching, the tight end Charlie Kohler there, that ended up being the 4th round pick of the Baltimore Ravens, and watching how Brock Purdy used him. That's one of my judges of a quarterback, is how they use every weapon that they have and use their check downs and get the ball out quick. And that's one of the things too. I'm not sure what his snap to release timeage is, but it's got to be really good. And it's like,
go ahead.
Oh, it's like, some just don't want their ranking systems broken, and that's exactly what Brock Purdy did, man.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that, when you look at how well he's done in his short time in the league, I mean, he's already on list for top 10. Some people have him top 5 quarterbacks heading into the 2024 season. And it's kind of, you can sit back and laugh at it now. A guy who was drafted last overall, who, like you said, that's why I chose that photo, because it wasn't him that went up there and presented. It was a jersey titled Mr. Irrelevant that was picked. But I mean, the fact that this guy went so late in the draft, obviously the latest you could go without going undrafted. And the fact that, and I mean, we've talked about it too with, certain players. And like, we just did a video on Kurt Warner. Me and Jay have done videos on Tom Brady and whatnot before. And guys who get drafted late or don't get drafted at all, takes a certain little bit of luck to sometimes get the shot you need. And if you get that chance, my God, you better make it count. Because like me and you just talked about with Kurt Warner a couple minutes ago, and like we're seeing with Brock Purdy, I mean, you mentioned it. Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo were hurt, which then led to this guy getting onto the field. If neither of those guys get hurt, Brock Purdy might still be right in the bench right now. And they might not have gotten to where they've been before and where they have aspirations to be and to bring home another Lombardi trophy. I think that, me and Jay have said about Tom Brady, he's a guy in that you see with Brock Purdy and that you see with guys like current day with Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and whatnot. It's maybe not so individually how good you are and how talented you are, with the throws you can make and whatnot. It's what can you do to make your team better? Are you in the right system? Can you make players 1 through 7 good? Can you make your second string tight end look like an all-star? Can you make your receivers play to their strengths? And that's what Brock Purdy does. That's what Patrick Mahomes does. That's what Joe Burrow does. That's what all of the elite quarterbacks in the league do. Lamar Jackson also. But with Brock, I mean, like I said, his career in college was solid. Wasn't like he was some nobody in college. He did really well at Iowa State when you look at his stats. He threw the ball for over 12,000 yards, 81 touchdowns, only 31 interceptions. And he also can get it done with his legs if need be, and propelled them to a 29-17 record as a unit. And like you said, that completion percentage is really something that's carried over. He threw for 67.7% in college, and he still pretty much maintained that at an NFL level. A very high completion percentage. I mean, we see every game with this guy for the most part. I think that go ahead.
That's the speed of the game, and like I mentioned, his processing speed coming in is just incredible. Going through his different progressions and different reads, just figuring out, exactly where these guys are. They tried to take Trey Lance, an athlete, and stuff them into this offense and think they had something, but they didn't have the guy to orchestrate the offense like they needed. And, to make the passes, to make the right decisions. And that's Brock Purdy's strength. There's so many teams. Oh, well, he didn't win the Super Bowl. Yeah, there's still 2 top teams in the league. I mean,
yeah, that's it. He didn't win the Super. He got there though. That's more than some of the other guys we said on this list have done.
I don't want to mention too much about holding penalties.
No. That's another topic for another day. But sure, I think my final thoughts on Brock Purdy. Guy's got seems like he's destined for a long career in the league. His play backs it up, and just goes to show, man, don't matter where you get drafted or if you get drafted at all in certain cases, or if you're the last pick of the draft, in this case, don't matter where you are, man, as long as you can go out there and ball like you're supposed to and show your talents to the world, it'll all come out, man. It'll all, the cream rises to the top, and obviously we see Brock Purdy right now, one of the top quarterbacks in the league, bar none. But William, any final thoughts on your quarterback for the near future?
Yeah, well, on not per se him, but he's got a little brother coming out, Preston Chubba. They call him Chubba Purdy, and he's at Nevada right now. And little brothers are always the ones that get beat up by the older brothers, so they end up bigger, they end up meaner, and everything else, man. I can't wait to see that kid, and I can't wait to see what Brock Purdy does in year 3.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be exciting to see. And of course, if you guys want to hear what we're going to say about Brock Purdy in year 3, subscribe to the channel, Facebook and YouTube, but also go and download our podcast available every single week. For my very talented writer over there at FirstRoundMock.com, my co-host today, William Yanish III. Appreciate you, man, coming on the show, talking about Brock Purdy. I've been your host and producer, Logan Landers, guys. We will talk to you again on another live episode.